Welcome to the Deep Dive. We take the information you're swimming in, articles, research notes, and we pull out the crucial insights, the stuff that makes you go, aha,
Right. Think of it as your shortcut to getting really well-informed, fast.
and hopefully have a bit of fun doing it.
Today, we're diving into a really fascinating, and I have to say, ambitious collection of documents one of you sent over.
Yeah, fascinating is definitely the word.
They center around this concept called aura of intelligence, and the scope is, well, it's pretty remarkable.
Remarkable's right. We're looking at onboarding materials, info from a wellness retreat, website stuff outlining this huge vision.
And even some really, really thought-provoking pieces on how marriage might evolve globally and, get this, potential subterranean cities.
It's quite the journey we're taking today. So our mission for you listening is to kind of weave these threads together.
Yeah, to get to the core of this aura of intelligence idea and give you the key takeaways without, completely overwhelming you.
Exactly. Expect some surprises, I think.
Definitely. So where do we start? What is this aura of intelligence, basically? What's the foundational idea?
Okay, yeah, let's unpack that. What's it all about?
Well, according to that first onboarding presentation, the main idea is building a computerized aura.
Yeah.
And this aura is designed to operate artificial intelligence. So think of it as like a platform for AI.
A computerized aura running AI. Sure
Easy.
thing. But it sounds like the ambition is bigger than just, a piece of software.
Oh, much bigger. The mission, they state, is to expand this whole framework to integrate with pretty much all technology.
All tech. Wow.
Yeah, with the goal of simplifying healthy living for everyone. And they also talk about partnering with this group called GAJRA Earth.
GAJR Air.
Mm-hmm.
To work towards something they call joyful, responsible abundance globally.
Joyful, responsible abundance. That's quite a phrase. Are there guiding principles behind all this? Values?
Yes, definitely. They list core values that joyful, responsible abundance is one.
Then there's inclusivity, innovation, integrity, sustainability. And this one's pretty grand. Harmony between humanity, the environment, and superintelligence.
Harmony with superintelligence.
Yes.
Okay, they're definitely thinking way ahead.
Way ahead.
The onboarding stuff also gives a sense of how this all started, right? The culture.
It does. It paints this picture of a startup culture, going from a solo hobby project over 6 years
Right.
to actually having the first hires and volunteers. There's a big emphasis on a dynamic, enjoyable culture.
Like try new things, work smart.
Exactly. Try new things, work smart, learn fast, and love life. That's literally what it says.
Sounds pretty energetic. So what tech are they actually talking about using for this aura? What are the tools?
Well, it's a whole suite of advanced stuff. Things like generative AI, AI that creates things, VR and AR headsets, so virtual and augmented reality, smart wearables like watches and maybe glasses,
Okay.
smart home devices, and then just a whole lot of different software. It's like a full digital toolkit.
Right. And for the people actually working on this, what are the main responsibilities? What's expected?
Seems pretty comprehensive. Things like setting goals, doing agilist sprints for development, keeping the brand consistent.
Standard startup stuff, some of it.
Yeah, but also strict financial and data security, team meetings, presentations, partnerships, and interestingly, prioritizing a healthy lifestyle and good time management.
So that well-being aspect is baked right in.
It seems so, very integrated.
What about the day-to-day policies? Anything stand out there?
A few things. Living those core values is key. Standard health stuff like stay home if sick, no food in computer rooms.
Sensible.
But also, interestingly, they aim for a 50-50 gender hiring quota.
Oh, that's notable.
Yeah, and continuous learning hybrid work options. Pretty modern policies.
Good to see that focus on balance. And the onboarding also mentioned personal well-being directly, didn't it?
It did, quite strongly. Big focus on health, well-being, work-life balance. Encouraging people to make time for enjoyment, prioritize health, ask for help if they're stressed,
Okay.
exercise, eat well, practice kindness. It suggests a really supportive culture, on paper at least.
Right. And finally, that onboarding doc hinted at what's next for them. Future topics.
Yeah. The next steps they listed were things like a deeper dive into AI itself, exploring this concept called protopia.
Utopia.
Yeah, it seems to be about working towards positive futures, not just avoiding dystopia, also discussing existential threats.
Heavy stuff.
And then a bigger look at the overall big picture of aura of intelligence, which actually leads us nicely into the other docs.
Perfect segue. So that brings us to the Aura of Intelligence Wellness Retreat in Goa. What was that about?
Okay, so this retreat, done with the GAJRA Earth Group again,
I
it
like
seems
that.
like a way to actually do some of this stuff. The focus was on building these XRAI auras and digital twins.
XRAI, auras, and digital twins. Okay,
Yeah.
break those down for us. What's an aura of intelligence in this context?
So the retreat materials describe it as a digital representation, almost like a digital mirror of your mental state, your history, your goals,
Yeah.
all created using AI and XR, which is that extended reality, covering VR and AR.
So like a digital map of your inner self
Got it.
and the digital twin of your body.
That's more about a digital representation of your physical self for use in digital environments, like your avatar, but maybe more connected to your actual physical data.
Interesting. Sounds like a very personalized metaverse experience. What kind of things did they actually do at this retreat?
It was a really varied itinerary, orientation, of course, then actually creating these auras and avatars.
Hands-on.
Yeah, exploring memory palaces, managing smart home devices, IoT, self-reflection, goal setting, wellness activities,
A lot packed in.
cultural stuff, deepening the aura concepts, even some teacher training elements.
Wow, really holistic. It wasn't just tech talk then. What about the wellness program specifically?
A good range.
Yeah.
Yoga, gym stuff, massage, sauna, ice baths.
The physical side.
Right. Plus art therapy, aromatherapy, sound therapy, meditation, nutrition guidance, even life planning sessions.
Covering all the bases, mind, body,
Yeah.
maybe spirit too,
Seems like it.
and the tech workshops. What skills were they teaching?
Pretty practical stuff, actually. Working with generative AI, basic programming, but using an AI co-pilot.
Oh, cool.
3D modeling and printing, using that GAJRA blockchain marketplace they mentioned.
Right.
Getting hands-on with AR, VR, wearables, smart home tech, and even a workshop on making your own smart things.
Very maker-oriented, so people weren't just listening, they were building.
Exactly. Very hands-on.
What about the cultural side? Goa's got such a rich culture.
Yeah, they included that too, exploring local laws, norms, languages, storytelling, sightseeing, music, dance, food, fashion, and even some adventure activities were mentioned. Sounds pretty immersive.
Definitely a well-rounded experience. And it wasn't just about individual growth, right? There were ways for people to connect and contribute.
Yeah, totally. Opportunities for making social media content, networking, presenting their own work,
Okay.
and exploring opportunities within Aura of Intelligence, or GAJRA Earth. And there was this interesting mention of Live Aid 2025.
Live Aid 2025. Like the concert.
It hints at some bigger global initiative they might be part of. Not much detail, but intriguing.
Definitely something to keep an eye on. The retreat info also seemed to touch on some really big future visions, didn't it?
Oh yeah, some seriously forward-looking stuff. Talking about these digital auras maybe becoming the ideal interface for AI.
Okay.
Creating ongoing stories in the metaverse, tons of new business opportunities, a vision for a global, responsible, abundant economy.
Big picture thinking.
And even aspirations towards Kardashev-scale civilizations.
Kardashev scale. You mean like harnessing the energy of stars and galaxies?
That's the one, yeah. We're talking huge civilizational leaps here.
Wow. Okay, this vision is just getting bigger and bigger.
Yeah.
Let's shift to the founder then. Luke, Catalyst, Nathan Hayes. What's his personal drive behind all this?
Well, his inspiration seems really personal, actually. He talks about wanting to build a digital bridge to my infinite self.
A digital bridge to his infinite self.
Yeah.
That's pretty evocative.
Yeah. He pictures it as a mixed reality aura that sort of imitates the idea of chakras, you know, the energy centers.
Right, from spiritual traditions. Interesting blend.
Right.
What's his background? Where's he based?
The site mentions Brisbane, India, Nepal, and North Stradbroke Island in Australia. So kind of a global footprint.
Seems like it. Mixing tech hubs with perhaps more spiritual locations. And what's the main promise of Aura of Intelligence, according to him?
The core promise, as they state it, is building the methods and tools for ethical individuals. Emphasis on ethical.
Okay.
To create their own AGI aura, that's artificial general intelligence aura within that GAJRA Earth system.
So empowering individuals ethically with AGI. He also talks about specific builders like the Aura Builder or
Yeah.
Mind Uploader.
Yeah, the aura builder or mind uploader. The idea there is to, and I quote, digitize your consciousness.
Digitize consciousness.
Transforming thoughts, memories, emotions into a, living digital mosaic in a virtual space.
Making your inner world digitally tangible.
Okay.
And the Avatar Builder or Digital Twin, how's that different?
That one's focused more on creating a virtual representation that really matches your physical self and personality.
Ah, for interacting in digital worlds more authentically.
Exactly. A truer-to-life avatar experience, maybe.
Gotcha. Then there's the World Builder. That sounds cool.
Yeah, the World Builder interface is described as a tool for users to actually shape digital landscapes, ecosystems.
Like creating your own virtual world.
Pretty much. Bringing imagination to life, whether it's for stories, games, or just, creating stuff.
A potentially infinite digital sandbox.
Right.
He also mentions a life planning and well-being interface. How does that fit in?
So that's designed to help people harmonize different parts of their lives. It offers interactive tools, blending tech with nature's balance, as they put it,
Okay.
managing time, health, happiness in a connected way.
Integrating well-being right into the platform. And generative AI must be huge in all this creation.
Oh, absolutely. Generative AI customization is mentioned as a way to amplify imagination and intelligence through a personalized AI system that acts like your creative partner and smart assistant.
Your own AI muse and helper. He also mentions controlling smart IoT devices, connecting the aura to the physical world.
Right. The Smart IoT Devices control panel is seen as the central hub to manage your whole smart environment, home, work, wearables, making control seamless and intuitive.
Merging the physical and digital control rooms. And events and event management. How does the aura help there?
The idea is to make planning events, from small meetups to big festivals, really smooth and coordinated using digital tools.
Streamlining event planning. Now, this next one sounds pure sci-fi. Aura capsule hotels.
Right, Aura capsule hotels. They're described as these immersive sleep pods.
Sleep pods.
Yeah, equipped with XR and AI tech, designed to mix physical rest with, imaginative digital exploration while you're asleep or resting.
High-tech dreaming pods. Yeah, okay, that's definitely out there. He also mentions innovation tinkering labs.
Those sound more straightforward. Just spaces for creativity and invention, right? Access to tools and tech to help people build things, fostering that hands-on innovation culture.
A makerspace, basically.
Right.
And maybe more down to earth. In-home AI auto farms.
Yeah, this is about using AI systems for home agriculture, like smart systems managing plant growth in your living space.
AI-powered home gardens. Interesting.
Potential for fresh, local food right there.
And finally, a quick mention of commercial space development, just casually thrown in there.
Yeah, not much detail in these docs, but its inclusion definitely points to a long-term vision that goes way beyond Earth.
Wow. Okay, from personal well-being right up to space development. That's quite the range. Now, things take a really unexpected turn here. Luke Hayes apparently prompted research into global marriage trends. Why?
Yeah, it's quite a pivot. Based on the source, he kicked off this really detailed research project, looking at global marriage laws, patterns, trends, rights.
Everything.
Pretty much. Gender, sexuality, reproduction, property, economics, population, culture, conflict impact, social hierarchies. The works.
Okay.
And his specific prompt included looking into a potential emergent phenomenon of global group marriages and AI hive minds.
Whoa, okay.
Yeah.
Global group marriage and AI hive minds. That's a leap from digital auras.
No.
So what did this research find about how marriage has evolved historically?
Well, it highlights that marriage has been around forever, basically, mostly to regulate sex, kids, property, social order.
Practical stuff.
Yeah, historically it was often about alliances, continuing the family line. Lots of different forms existed: polygamy, polyandry.
Right.
And it often reinforced social hierarchies, involved economic stuff like dowries or bride wealth. Less about romance, more about structure.
Got it. And what about the shift towards the one-man, one-woman model we see in many laws today?
As nation-states grew, they mostly standardized on that monogamous model, often influenced by European norms. While polygamy was common historically, it's mostly illegal or not recognized now, though it still exists in some places like parts of Africa, the Middle East, South Asia, but declining.
Okay. And how did marriage laws affect women's property rights historically?
Historically, women often had fewer rights within marriage, often couldn't own property independently.
Right.
Big progress happened in the 20th century. Lots of countries changed those laws, but inequality still exists, especially around inheritance in some parts of the world.
So full equality is still a work in progress globally.
Okay.
Okay. What are the key modern trends in marriage the research pointed out?
Several big ones. Fewer people getting married overall.
Okay.
People marrying later in life. Divorce rates are up in many places, leading to more diverse family setups, and a big rise in interfaith and interracial marriages. The research had stats showing these shifts globally.
Fewer later, more diverse, more breakups. What's driving these changes?
The research suggests a few key things. Economic development and women's financial independence is a big one. Tech changes in reproduction, contraception, IVF, that kind of thing. And also the impact of big events like wars, conflicts, diseases on society.
So a mix of social, economic, and tech factors. The research also talked about family structures beyond the nuclear family, right?
Yeah. It discusses the comeback of multi-generational homes and also intentional extended families, like co-housing communities.
But creating their own villages almost.
Kind of, yeah. Moving towards more communal living.
And that leads to the more speculative ideas about collective child rearing. Pods.
Right. The research explores that idea of friends or couples grouping up, sharing resources and responsibilities to raise kids together.
Why?
Presented as maybe a response to the rising cost of living, housing, childcare, people finding new ways to make it work.
Interesting adaptation.
Yeah.
And then it gets even more future forward with this emergent global tribe or hive families linked by AI.
Yeah, that's where it gets really speculative. Talking about a potential trend towards bigger, more flexible, tech-enabled family units, leading to the theoretical idea of hive families may be connected through AI, but the research admits this is way out there. Lots of questions.
Definitely sci-fi territory potentially crossing into reality. So the conclusion is that marriage is just much more diverse now.
Exactly. It's a varied landscape, loads of possibilities emerging, driven by things like gender equality, sexual freedom, economic shifts, and technology.
Okay, now building on that, we get to this Love UN simulacrum. What on earth is that?
Right. This concept is framed as a potential next step, an evolution for global marriage networks, not replacing current forms, but transforming them.
How?
It imagines global group marriages structured as this Love UN simulacrum built using those aura of intelligence systems.
A simulacrum. That sounds very specific. What does it mean here?
They define it as a deliberately designed socio-technical replica of marriage's social functions, but augmented with AGI, XR interfaces, and biometric protocols. So tech-enhanced, immersive marriage, essentially.
Technologically augmented marriage. What would be its key features?
Proposed features include things like rotating governance councils so no one group dominates, globally live-streamed covenant ceremonies mediated by AI, biosignal consent mechanisms.
Consent verified by biometrics.
Apparently, yeah. To ensure genuine agreement. And aura-driven matching based on personal data and desires.
Wow. Live-streamed vows and bio-verified consent. That's different. How does this try to connect with marriage's history, though?
It aims to acknowledge the traditional, even sacred aspects, recognize the legal history, promote relational equity, and use AI facilitation, but within clear ethical guidelines, trying to blend the old and the very, very new.
Intentionally blending history and future tech. And the individual's aura is key to the social structure.
Totally. Everyone would have their digital aura, this XR visualization, pulling in health data, memories, goals.
Right.
And this aura interacts with global affinity markets for things like living together, raising kids, other partnerships. Matching is described as probabilistic, always evolving.
So your digital self helps build these group marriages. What's the philosophy behind this model's view of marriage's future?
They call it protopian futures of marriage, inviting diverse love forms into a scalable structure.
Protopian again.
Yeah. Emphasis on ongoing ritualized alignment based on agreement, decentralization, and interoperability. You don't just marry once, you keep aligning.
Fluidity and constant evolution in relationships. It also connects this to historical group marriage examples.
It does. Draws parallels to things like Hawaiian Punalua, the Oneida community, Mosua walking marriages, Nordic communal child rearing, kibbutz collectives. Looking at those historical models through this modern tech lens.
Learning from the past to shape the future. So, summing up, the Love UN simulacrum is a mix of modern trends.
Yeah, it's presented as maybe combining ethical non-monogamy, blockchain governance, XR intimacy, post-industrial economics, all aiming for that protopian fractal system of joyful, responsible abundance again.
Okay, so if you have these complex group structures, ethics and governance are crucial. How might AI help govern ethical non-monogamy here?
The idea is the AI aura acts like a personal guardian of values.
A guardian.
Yeah, upholding the moral compass you define in your aura. It's meant to empower your conscience with gentle reminders about ethical paths.
An AI ethics coach for relationships. It also mentions biosignature monitoring for authenticity. That sounds intense.
It does. The Aura could potentially analyze your physiological responses.
Like heart rate, maybe?
Could be. To check if they align with your stated ethics. The idea is to spot dissonance, encourage self-awareness and alignment.
Using body signals to check ethical consistency. Wow. What about transparency in these complex setups?
Voice of transparency is another potential Aura function, aimed at promoting clarity, openness, and interactions, illuminating misunderstandings, fostering honesty.
AI fostering openness.
Yeah.
And the journey to sincerity.
That's about the Aura helping you validate if your actions truly reflect your inner values, promoting self-reflection, understanding your own motives better.
So the AI isn't just a monitor, it's potentially a tool for deeper ethical self-awareness.
Yeah.
Okay, let's shift again into something very different, maybe more playful. Eros Terra and decoding play. What's this game world idea?
Eros Terra is presented as this metaphorical game world. It uses game language to map the landscape of desire.
Map desire.
Yeah, mapping taboos like geographical features, outlining a spectrum of erotic identities. It's framed as a way to explore sexuality with choice, humor, risk, and reverence.
A creative way to conceptualize desire.
Huh.
What are some of the zones in this map?
Examples given are like plains of play for gentle stuff, ravine of rituals for sacred intimacy, the velvet underbelly for anonymous desires,
Okay.
forbidden frontier for navigating boundaries, and Mount Shame for taboo areas.
A really detailed, nuanced map. But this isn't just theory, right? It connects to developing emotionally smarter AI.
Exactly. The goal is to use these insights to develop emotionally literate AI assistants, sensual healing agents, shame-aware XR therapists,
Wow.
consent-centric erotic co-pilots, ultimately aiming to dismantle oppressive norms around sexuality.
Using play principles to build better AI for sensitive areas. The documents also reinterpret simple childhood games. What's that about?
Yeah, it's fascinating. Several kids' games are re-examined as maybe early training for complex life skills.
Like what?
Like Simon says, is seen as training for discernment under authority, learning when to follow rules and when maybe not to.
Huh. Never thought of it that way. What about hopscotch?
Decoded as embodied movement through sacred geometry and intuition training, helping develop subconscious understanding of patterns, energy flow.
Seeing sacred geometry in hopscotch squares.
Okay.
And clapping games like pat-a-cake.
Interpreted as rhythmic memory encoding plus mirror neuron cultivation, helping with co-regulation, social mirroring, maybe even encoding deeper meanings in the rhymes.
Miss Mary Mac's hidden depths. What about climbing frames, monkey bars?
Seen as vertical navigation of risk, training grip, but also navigating uncertainty, self-trust, spatial reasoning in motion.
Building confidence and spatial skills through play. And the old electronic game Simon.
The light-up button game. Decoded as memory loop mastery and pattern recoding, a basic primer for neuroplasticity, how the brain rewires itself.
Cognitive training in a simple game? What about just swinging on swings?
Interpreted as experiencing oscillation between dimensions, maybe helping develop a sense of momentum, finding stillness amidst change.
Finding balance in motion? And jump rope.
Seen as training threshold timing and pulse alignment, developing that ability to join rhythmic cycles precisely.
Rhythm and timing from jump rope. Foursquare.
Decoded as teaching sovereignty within systems, training kids about boundaries, tempo, emotional regulation, playful dominance within rules.
Navigating social rules in space. And you mentioned early Atari games. What's the take on those?
Early Atari games, Pong, Space Invaders, Breakout, Adventure, Missile Command, Frogger viewed as archetypal coding systems for the digital initiate. Each game potentially activating different soul modules, training different aspects of interacting with digital systems.
Deeper lessons in those simple graphics. Even Leisure Suit Larry gets a mention.
Yeah, interpreted as cracking societal taboos around sexuality, a kind of divine clown of the digital realm, offering a safe, humorous space for curiosity.
A playful nudge against norms.
Nah.
So all this decoding of play feeds back into that Eros Terra game world idea.
Exactly. The insights are meant to inform the structure of that metaphorical landscape of desire.
Okay, let's shift back to more tangible stuff. Building the future, technology and infrastructure.
Yeah.
What physical materials are mentioned?
Interestingly, they mention mineral sands from North Stradbroke Island quartz, ilmenite, zircon, rutile, monazite
Why those?
for their potential spiritual electrical resonance and computational fidelity, a blend of tech and maybe less conventional factors.
Interesting mix. What about the computer chips for the Aura?
Talk of developing custom RSCV chips. RSV as open source allows custom designs.
Right.
Looking at designs like Boom, CVA6, Picor-V, aiming to tightly link these chips with real-time AI models and XR, designed for low power, radiation hardening, potentially for off-world use.
Custom chips for Earth and beyond. And this MOE plus function callers emotional compute governance. What is that?
It refers to a layered AI system, using a mixture of experts approach plus other agents, specifically for emotional compute governance.
A complex AI structure for managing systems, possibly including emotional data. Now, this next bit is a huge leap. A subterranean crystal city of Quandamuca and a global underground hyperloop.
Yeah, this is massively ambitious. The Crystal City of Quandamuca is imagined as this huge 8-layer underground city.
8 layers.
Designed to mix advanced tech with the cultural heritage of the Quandamuca people, the traditional owners there, plus a proposed global network of underground hyperloops.
Underground cities and hyperloops,
Oh.
tackling potential surface issues on a vast scale. How does it aim to respect the local culture?
Emphasizes collaborating with Quandamuca elders, integrating their spiritual practices, protecting heritage, also trying to connect it to ancient underground sites globally.
Fusing future tech and ancient wisdom. What about power and sustainability for something that massive?
Focus on ecosurface development and energy independence, developing renewables like advanced geothermal, solar, plus AI climate stabilization for the underground areas.
Aiming for self-sufficiency. And it goes beyond Earth with the Kardashev Adaptive Scaling System.
Yeah, this is about AI-driven space expansion, automated resource gathering from space, space-based agriculture,
Wow.
to support populations both on and below the surface. Even mentions potentially tapping galactic resources if needed, interstellar scale thinking.
From underground cities to galactic resources. And if there's a surface catastrophe, there's a layered response system.
Suggests a multi-level plan to handle major surface destruction, keeping the underground infrastructure safe and functional.
Resilience planning on a huge scale. Finally, there were specific hardware design briefs mentioned.
Yeah, outlines for Aura systems tailored for different uses. Travelers, those capsule hotels, retirement villages, disability assistance, health retreats, display centers, even nightclubs.
So the Aura tech is envisioned for basically everywhere.
Seems that way. Deeply integrated, ubiquitous.
Okay, our final section. Monitoring Earth and Space. A VR news hub. What's the main idea here?
This project is for a cosmic VR and space weather news guide. Big focus on collaborative research.
Doing what?
Understanding the Sun-Earth connection, specifically their electrical circuit, better.
Using VR to visualize Sun-Earth interactions.
Mhm.
What kind of data would this hub use?
A really wide range. Geophysical, geological data,
Yeah.
space weather data, atmospheric, ionospheric data, and specific stuff for the VR guide itself.
A multi-layered data approach.
Yeah.
The docs even gave detailed examples of accessing this data.
They did. Really specific examples of software functions to grab data on earthquakes,
Yeah.
space weather like solar wind, magnetic fields, CMEs, atmospheric conditions, even API call examples, emphasizing customization and getting really fine-grained data.
Getting technical. And the atmospheric data was pretty detailed too.
Oh, yeah. Pressure, wind, clouds, rain, radiation, aerosols, pollution, satellite data, pulling from lots of sources for a full picture.
Comprehensive atmospheric monitoring. And specific data streams for volcanoes, solar activity, earthquakes too.
Correct. Outlines for tracking and analyzing those kinds of events were included.
So once you have all this data, how do you visualize it in VR?
The system allows adjusting visualization parameters. You can exaggerate scales to see subtle things better.
Okay.
Use level of detail scalars to manage complexity. Create 3D and 4D time-based visualizations.
Making super complex data understandable visually. Earth-Moon interactions also got special attention for visualization.
Yes, focus on showing their dynamics in VR. And interestingly, it introduces a hypothesis about electromagnetic influence on tides.
Beyond just gravity.
Yeah, exploring less conventional ideas.
And this hypothesis extends to weather and plasma experiments.
It does. Exploring potential electromagnetic effects on cyclones, pressure systems, even suggests trying to replicate these in plasma labs.
Testing big hypotheses in the lab. The document also laid out steps for building this system.
Yeah, detailed stages, data integration, visualization in VR, interactive analysis tools, monitoring, dynamic alerts for significant events.
A roadmap for building this VR hub. It also mentioned specific data like radon, animal behavior, water levels, INSAR anomalies.
Correct. Examples of extra data streams that might offer more clues about geophysical activity or environmental changes included example analysis queries, too.
Broadening the monitoring scope. Geological data from mining companies, core samples also integrated.
Yes, plans to pull in geological data from many sources, processing it, visualizing it, analyzing it, with a special focus on the mineral olivine and its role in the Earth's mantle.
Going deep into Earth structure. This includes fault slips, thermal anomalies, acoustic emissions, too.
Absolutely. Integrating data on fault movement, heat signatures, sounds from the Earth, visualizing it, aiming for predictive models.
Multi-pronged seismic monitoring.
Mhm.
And the VR Hub has advanced tools and links to emergency services.
Yes, features like interactive 3D 4D maps, time-lapse views, automated alerts for emergency services, plus public education modules using simulations.
Connecting science to public safety and education. Finally, the educational model in the VR Hub sounds pretty sophisticated.
Very. Advanced model with dynamic level of detail, ability to exaggerate scales of time, density, motion, frequency, color, charge.
Customizable learning.
Yeah, tailoring the experience for different users, making it highly effective.
This Cosmic VR News Hub sounds like an incredibly powerful tool for science and education. Well, we have covered an absolutely massive amount of ground today.
Astonishing amount, really, exploring all these layers of the aura of intelligence vision.
The sheer scope is remarkable. How they see connections between personal well-being, tech innovation, societal change, even cosmic awareness.
Definitely. We've gone from personalized digital auras and blueprints for future marriage to decoding play, designing subterranean cities, and building sophisticated planetary monitoring systems.
There were definitely some aha moments, some surprising concepts in there.
For sure. That recurring theme of AI and XR potentially reshaping everything, our lives, our reality, it runs through all of it.
It's clearly a huge, complex vision, and we've only really skimmed the surface here today.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We really encourage you listening to go back to parts that caught your interest, dig deeper into these ideas yourself.
Yeah, definitely worth revisiting.
And as we think about this grand vision, humanity potentially evolving relationships, building resilient systems for Earth and maybe beyond, we'll leave you with a final thought to ponder.
Okay.
What parts of this whole aura of intelligence concept resonated most with you? And what new questions does it spark about our future with technology?
We genuinely love to hear your thoughts and any other topics you'd like us to dive into in the future. Thanks for joining us on this quite expansive journey today.